Alright, welcome back everybody, this is GnomeDroid here, and today I'm going to show you guys how to install Sony Vegas Pro 11 in Wine in Linux as a follow-up to my Vegas Pro 8 tutorial. And with this method and newer videos, I hope to install newer Vegas versions in Linux. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and make sure you have Wine installed. Now, to have the latest Wine version, you can go ahead and follow the instructions sheet in the description. However, I think Wine 1.6 works pretty well, but again, if this doesn't work for you, just try newer Wine versions or different Wine versions, because that's usually why it doesn't work. You can go and type in sudo apt-get install winetricks. This should get Wine for you, and there you go. Now you can use this to check what version of Wine you have installed. So that's pretty useful. And to get newer versions, you can use the you can check the description as always, because always check the description for instructions and help and comment if you get stuck. But there I will have a bunch of links that will help you install different versions of Wine. After it's done downloading, you can go ahead and drag the netframework.exe into the folder that's been opened up by this. We can go ahead and click on Control-C. Alright, so after we've installed Wine, we can now go ahead and create the new virtual drive in which to install Vegas. So if you already have a Wine directory, you want to go ahead either to move it or delete it. Your Wine directory will look like, if you go into your file browser, press Ctrl-H. You will see there will be a .wine file, and if you want to keep this, if you already have apps installed, then you can go ahead and move it and rename it to something else, or you can just go ahead and delete it, which will be easier, or we can just make an entire new prefix. But I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So we're going to do sudo rm-r and delete Wine. As you can see, it's just disappeared there, but don't delete it if you don't want to delete it. If you want to keep some of the programs, just create a new one or just rename this one to wine.old or something. Alright, so after we've removed Wine, we can now go ahead and create our new Wine prefix. So we're going to type in the command wineprefix equals, and now we're going to do the tilde symbol, which means your home directory, then do a /.wine or whatever you want your new prefix to be called. I would call it .vegas or something. I'm just going to go ahead with wine though. Now, if you've moved your file, you can go your old Wine file and renamed it, just call this Wine, or you can go ahead and create a completely new Wine prefix. But for every single command that we now do in future, you're going to have to put this in front of it. So just to make sure you're executing the correct Wine directory. So I'm going to call it .wine. Now we're going to do WINEARCH, sorry, and this will tell us that it's 32-bit, and then we'll do winecfg. So you see our Wine folder's appeared here, and we'll just wait for this to configure. Click on OK. Now what we can go ahead and do is type in this command here. I'll just go ahead and fast forward this bit where it is just going to go ahead and install all of these things. Alright, so now this is gone ahead and finished. So next what we're going to go ahead and do is run the command winetricks. Now again, if you're using a custom wine prefix, you can just go ahead and change it here, and then just type whatever your name of your wine folder is. However, I'm going to be using, because I'm using the default wine folder, I'm just going to go ahead and just not write anything, because it will default to this folder here. So, we'll now type in .NET 35 sp1. Hey guys, it was really important here that we did the command, the WINEARCH's Win32, because this will not work on a 64-bit installation. And a lot of people in my previous Sony Vegas video, let's just type in yes here. A lot of people in my previous Sony Vegas video, they didn't follow the instructions and they didn't write the Win32-bit, and I got a lot of comments about, because if you try to install this in a 64-bit, it will just tell you this can't be installed because it's a 64-bit machine. So you gotta follow these instructions and make sure it's 32-bit. Alright guys, so while this is running, I just want to clear up what I said about the wine prefixes. So essentially what happens is your wine installs will be set where a region of your home folder, or wherever you want a part of your drive, will be allocated to being a custom sort of drive for your Windows installations within Wine. So like a sort of virtual machine folder designated for all your Windows files. As you can see in .wine, inside you'll see all these drive C files and registry files, because it's emulating the Windows drive. Now you can install multiple different apps within Wine, and a lot of the time different apps need different bases, different sort of dependencies and different apps, and these can conflict. So that's why I prefer to install multiple different apps within different wine prefixes, so they don't conflict. And therefore, if you already have a wine prefix, it is simpler to just delete it. But if you have apps that you really already want in there, you can go ahead and either rename this, so move it to something else, or just create your new. You can either delete it, or you can move this to another, rename it to something else, or you can go ahead and install your Vegas in a completely new wine prefix. So you can name it .vegas, but that's why it's important to write .vegas wine prefix equals ~.vegas, because it will basically just make sure you're executing the commands in the right folder. So at this point, as we can see, if we do winetricks.net 35 sp1, we can now see that that .net 35 service pack 1 has already been installed. So now what we can go ahead and do is run the 32-bit installer. Now I can actually find a 32-bit installer from when I bought Vegas. So you're going to go ahead and I've left a link in the description. You can find them on YouTube. You can find people who've posted them. I've used this one here, and they do have things like keygens and stuff in them. Just I highly recommend do not use this. Buy the software legitimately. I do not encourage the use of cracked software at all. Alright, so here we go. We have our 32-bit file. Now we can go ahead and rename it. I'm just going to rename it to make this easier. I'm going to rename it to, I'm going to call it to Vegas. And now we're going to go into a terminal. Go to the desktop, CD desktop. Now we can see we have our Vegas.exe. So what we want to do is go WINEPREFIX, and you're going to do the WINEPREFIX you had. So mine's like this, and then type winevegas.exe. Now click on enter, and as you can see, we will get a we're basically just running this, and I've just made sure we're running it. Now let's go to English, click on next, and one thing we have to do now, click on I agree, but before we do that, one thing we have to do is go ahead, as it says in this here, we need to go to this folder here while this is installing. So press Ctrl H to show hidden files, go to wine, drive C, and now you want to go to your user. I'm going to do gnome, and in this temp folder you will see Sony install 1. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and just paste it on my desktop again. Now we can go ahead and click next, click create a shortcut, click next, click on install. Here you can see we'll have these 3 things to install. So in the desktop on Sony install 1, as you can see, we have these 3 exes. Alright, so we finished installing, click on finish, and now here you can see this is done. So we can now move into this folder, the Sony install 1. So you want to change your path to where you copied Sony install 1. So just go here, go ahead and copy the link to where you've saved it, and then do CD, Control Shift V. Now we can see we're inside the Sony install folder. Now we can go ahead and run these. So let's go run this first one, and we're going to do a quiet install. This is just to make sure that it's correctly installed. Now let's do the next one. Now if any of these actually freeze at one point, we can go ahead and click on Control C to cancel. Type in your serial key. Right, so after you've put in your key, it's important to note that you won't be able to register online because, I don't know, it's some sort of bug that it won't be able to access the internet. So you want to choose register from another computer, and you want to use the email confirmation way of registering, which is pretty simple. Alright, and as you can see, Vegas will launch, however, it will crash because we haven't finished the final step. So once you've opened up your browser, you can go ahead and now type in DLL files, and this is the website here. You want to go ahead and choose the 32-bit version. We've downloaded all the 3 files. So the first one, go ahead and pull it out. Second one, go ahead and pull this one out. Just take these, copy them, and go into in GNOME, go to .wine, or whatever your wine prefix, drive C. Now we can go into Windows, then we can go to System 32, and here you can go ahead and paste them. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply this action to all files and replace. Go to wineprefix equals whatever your wine prefix is, so /wine, and then go to winecfg, go to libraries, search for msvfw32.dll, actually you don't need to type that, but hit the down arrow, select that one, and then click on add, click on edit, and make sure it's native. Going back into your drive, go into Program Files, here go into Sony, go to Vegas Pro 11, and here we can see that there's, so we're going to go to error report config.xml, just double click on that, go ahead and open it, and then when it's just here on the third line down, where it says enabled, yes, enabled, go ahead and change the yes to a no. Save this out, and now we can go ahead and close out of this, and now we will see that Vegas runs. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe, because I've spent an entire day working on bringing this tutorial to you to improve my older one, and I hope this helped you guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Comment down below if you have any queries.